Hey everybody, we're getting ready to build our Birdies 6-in-1 raised garden bed. Got all the pieces out, got to rip all the plastic off first. It's going to be a good time. Here's our work helper. Hi Leela. Leela, look. Oh my God. See how this works. We've got our Birdies 6-in-1 garden bed. It's pretty nice. Yesterday I came out and I completed the fence around the garden. We also put a fence around our berry bushes because our dog is destroying them. Fun times. Anyway, so let's kind of give it a look and see how we filled up this Birdies garden bed, shall we? So as you can see, this thing's a very nice, sturdy construction all the way around. What I did to fill up the garden bed, because it seems like you have to use a lot of dirt, right? In fact, it's completely the opposite. So over in that little part of the yard where you see all these leaves and everything, I had lots of logs sitting around from a tree that fell on my truck. Yeah, craziness, right? So we kept those logs, and what we did is we filled up the garden bed about halfway with just the logs. And then I took some of these leaves that we had covered our garden with over the winter and filled that up to the on top of the logs, up to about this point or so, maybe a little lower, right there. Then I filled the rest of this up with soil. We used some regular potting soil as well as some peat moss to mix in with that soil as well. And we'll add fertilizer, and we're gonna have some fun growing. So this is how I had to make the fence around the garden so our dog doesn't go crazy and destroy it. We wanted to make the fence just a little bit larger than we usually do, but I ran out of fencing, as we can see, so I used this pallet to create a door. And I've got just some steel wiring right here that's just kind of a little lock for it, so we just loosen that up, pull it through the hoop like so, pull it through here, and voila, we've kind of got a little garden gate. Now we can just walk right on in. So I've got this raised garden bed that I used last year. I fit about 12 tomato plants in here that all grew up pretty tall. This is from metalgardenbeds.com. And then I just put this one together that I bought last summer. This is a Birdies 6-in-1 raised garden bed. What's really nice about these garden beds is that they're about 3 feet tall, so you can do a lot of stand-up gardening. Okay? Instead of having to get down on your knees to do things like weed and fertilize and mulch and all that good stuff, you can do it all standing up, which is really nice and helpful and makes gardening a little more fun and enjoyable. So if you're interested in looking into these raised garden beds, like I said, this one here is from metalgardenbeds.com. This one here is a brand called Birdies. And Birdies is a brand that's made in Australia, and for a while wasn't sold in the United States, but now is being sold by a guy named Kevin Espiritu, who has a channel called Epic Gardening. I think you can also go to epicgardening.com, and that's where you can find these Birdies beds. They're really nice. They're made of galvanized steel. I can link you to a video from another guy that I like to watch named Mark, who's got a channel called Self-Sufficient Me, He actually just made a video where he looked into one of his Birdies garden beds after 12 years just to see how it might be deteriorating or anything like that. And it didn't do much. You know, galvanized steel was holding up really well, so there's no rust in there. There was only like one little spot where it was starting to maybe deteriorate just a tiny bit, but nothing that's gonna really suffer the gardening. So there you have it. Like I said, some of the people that I've been enjoying watching as I've been learning some gardening techniques have been Mark from Self-Sufficient Me, Kevin from Epic Gardening, and recently I've been getting into watching some Gardener Scott. You'll be able to see links to all their channels below. So I'm excited to see how everything moves on in our new garden this year. And I'll go over here and show you just a little fence that we decided to put up for our berries to protect those berry bushes. Like so, like that. We're hoping that our raspberry bush makes it, but our dog really took it out. We've got some sort of berry bush growing, but that is what she took out. Yikes. Who knows what's going to happen there. Alright, well, it's a dreary, rainy day, but I'm glad because it's putting some water into my raised beds and compacting the soil down a little bit so I can add more soil later. I will tell you that after putting all of the logs and twigs and leaves, I ended up only having to put in, I'd say, about 4 bags of potting soil, and I got these 64 quart bags. So they're the largest bags that you could buy over at Lowe's. But I only had to put 4 in there, and it got it up to that height. Okay. Everything else underneath is going to slowly decompose through each year and enrich the soil, which is nice. That's called it's a German method called Hugelkultur, which is something I learned from some of those other channels. So it's kind of nice. You're not having to use a lot of soil. Okay. Instead, you're filling it up halfway with other organic material that will break down and enrich the soil later. And then you put some more soil on the top, on about the top half of it, which is way more economical instead of spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on soil. And then it's just a big old thing of soil. Now you got something that's actually doing work for you, which is cool. I like when things work for me. We understand that as musicians. Anyways, so that's the garden. It's gonna keep growing, keep evolving throughout the spring and the coming summer and fall. So I'll keep you updated. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Deuces.